In this video, we will look at the solutions for the 2016 November exam paper, question 2. In this question, we were given the attributes F school name, F visit date, F group size, and F tour guide. This was information that was given to us and was already declared. And we were also given some other methods in terms of the constructor that was already written for us, and all of these accessor methods, these get methods, were already written as part of the question and was given. The first question, 2.1.1, write a mutator method called setVisitDate. SetVisitDate, that's a mutator. We know that mutators are procedures. SetVisitDate, we need to bring in a value for the visit date, and that will be assigned to the attribute. So there it is, the implementation. I bring in a value for the visit date, and that is assigned to the attribute. Remember that your attribute starts with an F. 2.1.2, write a method called required tour guide to return. So immediately that tells us we are writing a function. Return the word yes. So the function is returning a string because yes is a string. If a tour guide is required, or no if the tour guide is not required. So in this particular, the definition, so we are writing a function. The name of the function is a required tour guide, and we know that it is returning a string. We can pick up all that information just by looking at keywords in the question. Let's look at the implementation for that function. So here's the function. It's returning a string, and it must return yes if there is a tour guide, otherwise no. So we check the property. There is an attribute called fTourGuide. That attribute is of type Boolean. So if that equals true, that means it must return the word yes. So result takes on the value yes, and else would mean if it's false, therefore result takes on the value no. 2.1.3. Here you are required to write a method called isConfirmed. The method is confirmed. It receives, that is a parameter, the total number of visitors that are already attending. So this is something that's key for us to take note. So we need to know the number of visitors already attending, and we need to determine whether the maximum value of 500 visitors per day will be exceeded. Return a Boolean value of true. So that immediately tells me we are writing a function. Return value is true, so it's returning a Boolean value as it is stated. So let's go ahead and look at the solution for this function is confirmed. So there it is, it's a function, is confirmed. Remember, it was required to receive the total number of visitors attending. So these are the total number of visitors that we are bringing in as a parameter. And it's returning a Boolean value. So to determine whether this is going to exceed 500 or not, we take the total number of visitors that we are bringing in as a parameter. These are the number of visitors that are in the aquarium. We add it to our group size. This is our attribute, our group size, and we get a total. And we need to check that if that total is below 500 or equal to 500, that means is confirmed. It can be confirmed that this particular group size can be attending on a particular date. So result returns a value true, otherwise result will return the value false. 2.1.4, The park wants to encourage students to attend the aquarium program by allowing free entrance to one learner for every 10 learners. So for every 10 learners, one learner will be free. So if there are, for example, 60 learners, you will get one learner for every 10, therefore 6 learners will be free. Write a method calc amount. We're not sure whether that's a procedure or a function, and that will receive the cost per person and the cost of a tour guide as parameters. Receive means parameters, and will calculate and return. Return means writing a function, so it must return the total amount to be paid. So let's go and write that particular function. So there it is, function, calculate amount, 2 things to receive. That's the cost per person, and that is the cost for the tour guide. And the function is returning a real value. A real value is being returned. So the first thing we do is we take our group size and we div it by 10. Remember, div performs integer division. So there will be no remainder. For example, if there's 123, the group size is 123, div 10, that will return 12. It means 12 students will be free to attend. So to get the cost, we take the group size and subtract the number that were free that we just calculated and multiply that by the cost per person. That is the cost per person. We multiply that to get the cost for the number of students. But what if that group wants a tour guide? So we check if the attribute tour guide is true. If it is true, we accumulate. We take our current cost and add the cost of the tour guide, which we are bringing in as a parameter. And that will give us the total cost that we have. There's something missing in this function. Once we've calculated the total cost, that cost needs to be assigned to result. That is how the function returns the value. So result is assigned the value of cost. 2.1.5, complete the toString. We know that when we write a toString, it's a function, it's returning a value, and that's the format in which the toString should be returned. So there it is. It's a toString, it's a function, and it's returning a string. So there's my heading, school name, there's my attribute, and I create a new line, my next heading, my attribute, new line, next heading, number of learners, my group size that needs to be converted because it's a string, new line, and then tour guide. And if you look at the question, it wants the attributes, but it also wants to know if there's a tour guide. And for tour guide, we need to display whether it is yes or no. Now, we do have an attribute, F tour guide, but that's a Boolean, and that returns true or false. But you will also remember that we wrote a function that returns yes or no, depending on whether tour guide has been chosen or not. So here we're calling up the function, which will then return a value of yes or no.